All right, here we are. We are recording, so now we can get started, Tiffany. Welcome, everybody, to the Summer of Shift. We are on tactic number 9. Right, Tiffany?
We are.
So you have, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you have Tiffany Hampton, our regional productivity coach, on today. And you also have myself. My name is Jen Bovey. I am the area director for the New England region. I am also the operating principal for Keller Williams Coastal in Rhode Island. And excited to be on co-hosting with Tiffany today to really talk about tactic 9, which is urgency, or create urgency, overcoming buyer reluctance. What else do you want to add, Tiffany?
Well, when we think of creating urgency, how many of our buyers, I'm just going to wait, right? We call them sitting on the fence. So this session is going to talk all about how to get them off the fence and give you great skills to make that happen. And there's this great quote that you wanted to share with us.
I do. I want to start off with this quote, and I will tell you, I like doing a lot of things from the book. So if you have your shift book, please take it out today and highlight along with us your shift book. If you have it, go grab it, put it along with you as we go through today. I wanted to start off by saying this. It's a quote. If someone is going down the wrong road, he does not need motivation to speed up. He needs education to turn him around. Let that soak in for 1 minute. Did that resonate with anybody? What did you hear from that? Especially around tactic number 9. Great quote. It's in the shift.
Page 167.
Thank you, Tiffany. That's, you always got my back on that stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Page 167. That is a great quote right at the top of the page. And everybody that is putting in your email address, we'll make sure we get over the additional notes to you. So here we are, tactic number 9. Let's share the screen, Tiffany, and dive right into what we're talking about today.
All right, summer shift. We got 3 more weeks of summer. Woohoo.
All right, so tactic number 9, as it just said, we're going to create urgency. And here's a couple of things that we want to make sure we mention. How many of you agree with this, that the media creates misconceptions about the home buying of today, about buying a home today? Let's see if I could. I can't see the chat while I'm doing this, Tiffany, so you're going to have to help me out.
We're good. I got you.
All right. Okay.
So I'll just start off, and not to offend anybody that was ever in the news. And yet, what is the news out there to do? It's to sell, right? So they need really awesome, quote unquote, headlines to sell. And sometimes those headlines are not accurate of what's going on. It's one piece of many pieces.
One piece of many pieces. So true. So anybody have an example of one thing the media is saying right now that might not be accurate?
That interest rates are going up in 2 weeks.
That interest rates
I
might
got
be
that
going
one
up.
today. Yeah.
How do they know that?
I know.
Curious. Do they have a different crystal ball than we do? What else?
Yeah.
Oh, I see in the chat. I did find a little box I could open, Tiffany. So it's blocking some of my screen. But it says interest rates are driving buyers away from buying. Is that what you heard has anybody heard that in the news? That they need to sell?
That's almost one of those myth understandings, right? What is the actual fact? Buyers buy because of life circumstance, right? So regardless of what interest rates are, if they have, and I always use this, 2 kids, teenagers, preteens that are living in the same room, killing each other. For the most part, mom and dad are not going to care much if they have to pay a little higher interest rate to have peace in their house, right?
Right. So that's a little bit of what the media is creating for our buyers. The other thing is the challenge, the buyers fear paying too much. Has anybody heard that one recently? The buyers are going to wait because they think what?
They think prices are going to come down.
Yeah. They think that the prices are going to come down. Do you think that they're going to come down over 40%, by the way?
No.
Nope.
Cheryl says that they think we're in a bubble. Yes.
I
That's
do think
another
there's
challenge.
also
How
a lot
about-
of people waiting for the foreclosures to hit. They think there's gonna all of a sudden be all these deals in the market as well.
Well, you're absolutely right. And they think that that's happening. And here's the thing, the pipeline for foreclosures, to be honest with our group here, it is growing. It's higher than it's been in the last 3 years. But what has happened in the last 3 years?
There's been no foreclosures.
There really hasn't been a market for it. So yes, it is increasing and it's something to absolutely keep an eye on. Is it going to be a 2008 repeat? It's not looking like it. Why? Because it's a completely different circumstance than what happened in 2008. Anybody, how many of you on this call were in the market a real estate agent in 2008? I only see Chris. So Chris and I and Melissa, that's all that's on my screen, and Tiffany. So
Tiffany was around then too. She was around then.
Absolutely.
so we were in that market. And what was the differences from that to this? Any one of you, please chime in.
For me personally, it was a huge buyer's market. I was sitting on a ton of listings and they were taking a really long time to sell.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. Another one was it was a financial crisis, right? There was that prime boom, the subprime. Anybody remember the subprime boom? What was that movie that they came out with that was really, really good? I can't remember the name of it, but it really explained what happened with that subprime financial crisis. That's not what's happening here.
Was that
They
the
had
big
a lot
short?
of no doc loans, the 80/20s. Yeah.
That was me, by the way. That I purchased my condo in 2006. Ouch, sue you too. 2006 subprime 80/20 no doc. Actually, mine was an 80/15 5. I don't even know how that's even possible. And 2006 in a condo. Think about that for a second. I still didn't make any money on it when I sold it 2 years ago.
Yep.
Right. But still, that's just a different type of market.
There were a
And-
lot of short sales and people have a lot more equity now than they did in 2008.
Mhm.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I can't see who's speaking right now, but yeah, absolutely. Kara?
Tara,
Oh, Tara, sorry.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. The short sales were tremendous because they didn't have equity. Right now, we're sitting on the highest amount of equity than we've ever seen before. So yes, another great point. So the other challenge here is buyers don't have any sense of urgency. Anybody see that one where buyers like, oh, I'll wait. I'll kind of see. I'm tired. I'm tired of putting in so many offers and getting rejected so many times. And then the other one here, which I have to move my screen to read, is many agents think it's not a good time to buy. Have you spoken to any agents that think that?
No.
It's probably not you on this call, by the way, because you guys are being very proactive in understanding the market instead of listening to the media. Or when James Shaw was here, Tiffany, what did he say? What did he tell us to stop doing? Stop saying, you remember? Stupid
No.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is a James Shaw quote. It's not me. He told us to stop saying stupid stuff, meaning that know what you're saying is actual facts
Right.
rather than what you heard the media say or what you heard maybe a co-broke say that was an actual reality. So when people say we're in a shift, well, what's your local market look like? Be the local expert. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot today, is being your local expert, because you know what? The market down in Florida is not the market here in Rhode Island or in New England or wherever you sit right now. It's different. So knowing where you are right now with your local market is going to set you apart from everybody else that is working with buyers. All right, so let's keep going here, Tiffany. And if there's anything in the chat that you want to mention, please do. Oh boy, how do we get to, okay, here we go. The truth. People are buying and selling homes in this market. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yes. Now in Rhode Island, I'll tell you, our sales are down a bit. Our sale, yet people are still buying, selling, investing, renting, all of it. There is still a market.
Well,
Tell me if
Stephen
that's
said,
true in your area.
Stephen has said in the chat, we're about 5 million housing units below what we need, right? So even though it may be we don't have the right inventory, it may be numerous things getting in the way, and yet it will be a while before we don't have enough buyers.
So true. That's so true. If you guys are watching your market, and at my all partners meeting for Keller Williams, we do it every 2 weeks. I typically come up and talk about the inventory. For the last month or so, the inventory actually crept down a little bit in Rhode Island. I'm in Rhode Island. That's where I'm talking about. And a couple of months before that, it was growing like double. From February to May, it doubled in inventory. But from May to July, it actually went backwards a little bit, not dramatically, but the inventory is not increasing anymore. What are you guys seeing? I'd love to hear, in other parts of New England, what are you seeing? Put that in the chat, and then I'll keep going here.
It goes back to what you said earlier, right? There's the news media saying X, and then there's the reality piece. So when all that inventory was increasing, that was the news having a conversation. And then, 2 or 3 weeks later, whatever it is, the reality is we're still short on units. So we need to really share this information with our sellers, because if they're listening to the wrong people, it's affecting them and it's affecting the market.
Absolutely. So on page 168 of the book of Shift, I highlighted the bottom paragraph. Hello. There are 2 types of buyers in regards to timing, because I'm looking at this second bullet point. It says no one could truly time the market. It says there are 2 types of buyers in regards to timing. There are those who believe they can time the market, and there are those who believe timing will find them. Which buyers are you? Where are your buyers sitting right now? With that said, I want to do a little activity with you guys. I'll make sure you can see give me a thumbs up if you could see this. Okay. Can you see this blank piece of paper? There's nothing on it. That's all you can see, blank piece of paper. Okay. I want to do a little activity, and it's a fun little one. It's actually in the book, and I would encourage you to do this with your clients, anyone that is, or anybody you're having a discussion with about real estate and the market, on if it is how it is. All right. So I'm going to start at the top of my paper here, and I'm going to go down. So I want you to tell me when this drawing, the market hits bottom. You guys see my line? Did it hit bottom yet? Did it hit bottom yet? Hit bottom yet? What? I saw a hand up. What do you mean? You don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. You don't know that it's hit the bottom until it starts going back up.
Ah, who said that?
Tara.
Tara. Absolutely. And every single one of your clients will say the same thing. You don't know until it starts going back up. So when is the right time? Right? So now, and this is on page 168, guys. It's really, I would highlight this section. It's at the bottom of page 168. It says, take out a blank piece of paper and pen. Do this with your client. Starting at the top of the paper, draw a line. Exactly what I just did with you guys. And then loop it up. It says, as long as your line keeps going straight down, they won't be able to tell you when the bottom is until you start curving up. Right? And now it goes on in page 70, 71. It talks about, and I would encourage you guys to go look at these graphs, right? Now, how do they know when they hit the top of the market? Same thing, right? When it starts going the other way. No one can truly time the market, is what that's called. Tiffany, you want to add anything on to that?
The money is made in the middle section, not necessarily at the top or the bottom, right?
Right. So the book says the smartest money never goes looking for it. They play in the safe zone. And this graph is on page 172, is the safe zone timing of the market. And I'm going to put it up on here just so you can see what I'm talking about. Do you see the safe zone? Anybody see where it is? It's not at the bottom, it's not at the top, it's all the way through the middle. What ahas do you have from this quick little exercise?
Susan says the right time to sell buy is when it makes sense for your family. All about motivation. 100%.
That's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Anything else in there?
That's it. Just the differences on the market. Some are seeing price improvements, some are seeing a slight increase in more days on market.
All right, Tiffany, why don't you take on the solution?
All right, so be an expert on the market and the economy. So when I say that, what does that sound like to you? What actions do you have to take to become the expert in the market? Valerie, I see your hand up.
I was trying to raise my hand before we went on to the next slide.
That's
Here's
okay.
the thing. What
Go ahead.
I'm finding is, it doesn't matter what the market is. It matters what the motivation of the buyer or seller is. I've had a buyer since May, out of nowhere, new agent. I want to see a $900,000 house. I call my market center. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? Right? They're still sitting. They're still sitting. They were pre-approved with money down. We put the offer in, and then they said, oh no, wait, we don't want to have two mortgages, even though they could have afforded it with two mortgages. So now their pre-approval expired and they don't want to renew because the interest rates are going higher, but their motivation is their 6-year-old is about to start first grade in Barrington, New Hampshire, and that's where they want to live. So I've just sort of been massaging and touching, and hey, I gave you a new CMA. I reminded them that their pre-approval was going to expire. They didn't get back to me, but they got back to the lender, and the lender said, we stopped looking. So what? It doesn't matter about the market. If they're interested, they're interested, is where I'm at right now. I'm very frustrated. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's to the point of the motivation, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
find the motivation. Corinna, what do you want to add?
Well, you have to like really study and understand the market, not just houses, but interest rates and how to talk to people about those interest rates. And we got to get better at doing CMAs again, you know, so we can show our clients. I just did a market analysis on a property my client was going to buy. We put in an offer. It was a great offer. And that I was talking on the phone with him. He goes, Karina, you need to educate her so she can figure this out. I was like, yes, I know, you know, but it's, you know, he sees the education, but it's all about knowing the market, how to comp out houses, what's going on with the interest rate, and of all things, not to panic. Because if you show panic, they're going to panic because they're looking to you for guidance.
Absolutely. And, you know, and both Valerie and what Karina said, listen to buyers, right? What are they not saying? What are you hearing that they're not saying? What questions should you be asking them? So if we wait 6 months to purchase a house, what impact will that have on your family? Right? Listen to what they say, because when you find the pain, you'll be able to move them forward. Pay attention to pricing and condition. I mean, that's what you talked about, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many agents got into the business in the last year and a half and really never became an expert of the CMA because, quote unquote, they didn't have to. The property sold themselves, right? We need to pay attention. How do we make adjustments? Match needs and wants, right? Again, to Valerie's point, if they have a need and they have a want, how do we marry those two so they move forward? And it's really massaging the conversation. And it starts with asking great questions, diving deep, finding out if this doesn't happen, then this. Lessen fears about buying. You said that, right, Corinna? How do we say, at the end of the day, if you're going to hold on to this property for 7 to 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you're not going to be in a position, because we know in the next 2 years something may happen, and yet it still may not happen. And just because we're not seeing 40% increases in value does not mean we're not seeing 3% increases in value. And over the course of 10 years, the average is 4 to 7% increase year over year, right? Corinna?
How many times when the interest rate was down in the twos, below threes, how many times did we rush our clients to buy because that was going to change, and how it stayed longer than what anybody ever thought?
Yep.
So it's just, you don't know what's going on. And like me, when I bought my house, if it was 3%, it was 3% for a very short time. But that below 3% lasted longer than what anybody ever thought.
Yep.
It made people look like they were lying just to get you to put in an offer on a house.
Right. And then find good, reliable mortgage programs, you know, like at the end of the day, is it an 80-20? Is it a first-time home buyer program? What opportunities are out there? And this is coming back to knowing and being an expert of your market and economy. Our market center knows that every month they get a list of how properties sold. Were they VA, FHA, main state housing, conventional, how many were cash? And we've actually paid attention and watched over the course of time. At the beginning of this market, it was all conventional and cash. And now that we're moving in this direction, people using VA and government type loans, they're actually having the opportunity to really get into the market. So all of those buyers that were like, we're priced out of the market, nobody's going to accept our financing, go back and talk to them. It's time.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the things I just want to mention is that it was asked in here, where can you watch daily interest to educate yourself? You have local lenders in your neck of the woods, in your market center specifically, that probably support your market center. Go talk and go ask them if they would take you out for a cup of coffee. They'll be like, coffee, I'll take you out for dinner, whatever you want. You want to go to a Boston Celtics game? I'll take that. Trust me when I tell you, they want to have a conversation with you, and they will tell you everything you need and want to know about what's happening in the mortgage and interest rate section. And when I tell you, take your notepad and record some, know this inside and out. When I first got into the business in 2001, I didn't hear about a 203K loan until I was at least about a year into the business. Once I was able to learn about it, I was able to offer different experiences and opportunities for the buyers I was meeting with. 203K was a totally different opportunity for a first-time home buyer who needed those extra funds to renovate their property. And I didn't know about it for a full year that I was in the business. So that was on me for not asking the questions to the lenders of what are reliable, what are the great programs out there for every type of buyer. Tell me about my first-time home buyer. Tell me about the mid buyer that's upgrading. Tell me about the jumbo buyers. What do I need to know to best educate my buyers? Me too. All right, what's next? Do I have to hit the next page? Yes.
Yes. So what does buyer urgency actually mean? So what does that mean? What does buyer urgency actually mean?
I think it just goes back to motivation again. You know, do they have to make a move?
Right.
Are they ready, willing, and able? Are they pre-approved? Do they have money? Can they write an offer today? If they saw the right property today, would they write an offer? Yes or no? You're either an A or you're not an A.
And how do you figure that out?
By asking a lot of questions.
100%. So when
And
you look
asking, you can ask them too, like, if we found the right house today, would you put an offer in?
Yep.
And if they pucker, then it's probably a no.
right.
And really, you only are going to get, in my opinion, you'll get that a lot faster if you're face to face with them and not trying to do everything over messages and texting, and, you know, sitting down and having an honest conversation face to face will get you there a lot faster.
Just like the CMA came back, so did the days of doing a really great buyer consultation, which should have never gone away. And yet the market moved very fast.
Absolutely.
Right.
So on here is a really great little quick graph that we saw at Mega Camp, and it's in the book as well. This is the buyer's market. You have the average price on the left, the bottom is time on market. Where do you see it going? Now, mind you, I'm gonna go back to what James Shaw told us. We're not in a shift. A shifting market is a bad market or a buyer's. We're not there yet. We're not there. We're talking about this because we're getting prepared and we're getting educated on how to speak during a down market. Tiffany, are we in a down market?
We're not. Honestly, we're in a stabilizing market.
Any questions on that? On this graph? All right, let's go to the next. Go ahead, Tiff.
So I love this one, the tale of two markets, right? So we look at when you price a house or when your buyer's looking at a house, if it's in the market, they're going to possibly write multiple offers to get to it, right? When it's out of the market and in no man's land, buyers still know and understand that, right? They understand what the market's doing. And even at the height of this market, if a house was $1 million overpriced, they were not going to write an offer on it. That is out of the market. The no man's land, that is, they may take a look at it, but you're not going to get an offer. And then the in the market, that's where you make things happen. And there's, I don't know if Brooke included it in here, but there's a great, that triangle that if you don't have it, I'll find it and put it in the chat. Pricing your house just below market, that is where you're going to get the highest and best price. Because I've heard very often that the offering price is just the marketing price. It is not the purchase price. It is not the sale price. It's just the offering price. What else do you want to add to that?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing. You could outprice a property in any market. You could never underprice a property in a market. Why? That price is always going to correct itself to the market price. Always. Yep. If you price a property at $1 today, you better believe you're going to get market or higher price tomorrow. And that's any market. It doesn't matter if you're in the current market or in a buyer's market or the seller's market like we were back in February. Yep, that's it. All right, so on page 174, you'll see that there are 3 ways there's buyer urgency. One is able. Do they have available cash? And what about their credit? Number 2 is they're ready. Their personal reasons. I think, was it Valerie was talking about her buyers? This is the number 2 of buyer urgency. What are their personal reasons to be ready to purchase a property? And then number 3, willing, market expectations. And I think this is a big piece of where we step in and we help educate. Tiffany, anything else on that?
I think they weren't ready. They had the first 2 and not the third.
Right.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, you know what? I will tell you that there's a lot of agents feeling the same way that you feel right now. And it's because so many buyers and sellers are in this boat of uncertainty. And Tiffany, I think we talked about that at Mega Camp as well. There's a very big boat of uncertainty, and it's been happening for 2 years plus.
Yeah.
2 years plus. So you're seeing a lot of I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in.
And this is where you become the expert, right? This is where you give them the information, you advise, they decide. Logic makes them think, emotion makes them act, right? We have all these sayings for this. And yet, for the most part, is it a condition or is it an objection, right? If it's an objection, then we need to educate. If it's a condition, we need to figure that out.
That's right. All right, 3 ways to energize buyer urgency. Number 1, become the local economist of choice. What does that mean to you? really quickly, one person in the chat, what does that mean to you? And if you've heard Brooke or me talk, you know what I think it is. Brooke, I think, mentioned I had it tattooed on my forehead. I really did not. Just here for the record, I did not have that tattooed on my forehead. Melissa, it's not covered up with makeup. It's not there. It's knowing your numbers. Absolutely. If I ever did get a tattoo, maybe that would be a contender, but I don't know. Knowing your numbers, knowing what's happening around you. And I'm talking about you in your local area. It's great to know nationally, yet be the local economist of choice for your area. Yes, I love it. Melissa, being a local expert, what does that mean to you? I know it's not just knowing your numbers. What else does that mean to you?
It's being able to know where to get a lot of the answers to things, because somebody asks you, who can I get for contractors? Who can I do? What can I do about the schools? You know, those kind of things. Just knowing their area. And it doesn't have to be just one town. It could be a county on that end.
I agree with you. And I think, Melissa, I think you were at Mega Camp, and Troy Williams was up on stage. He is an agent out of the coastal lakes and mountains in New Hampshire. I believe he's in Maine. And he spoke about how he is basically the Google. He is the Google of his area and his clients. Are you? If a client came to you and said they needed help on A, B, or C, do you have an opportunity for them to experience an A, B, or C from your network? I think that's what Melissa is talking about as far as being your local expert, being able to assist your clients or people you know in those areas. So that way, when they think real estate, they truly think of you as the expert. Number two is help them tap into their why. Now, some of you are already checked out and you're like, why? Don't talk to me about a big why. I don't know my big why. How am I supposed to find out their big why? Yet it is truly important. Tiffany already spoke about it today. When you're in that buyer consultation, know their why. Tiffany, why is it a big deal?
Well, again, when you get an objection from them, I always like to say, I understand that that's a concern of yours. What's changed? Because we recently had a discussion that said your big goal has something changed? And then we get them back to that why, which gets them back into having the conversation. We always have to keep them in conversation.
If you need to learn more about tapping into their why, write down page 184 through 186. Read those 3 pages and highlight the areas that you need to resonate more with or understand more. These are a great 3 pages to just go through and read over and over again. Now, this book is a great book to read, but there are certain pages to read over and over and over again to internalize them. These 3 pages, if you don't know how to tap into their big why, mark that down as one of them.
I have a question.
Please.
So I have a client, she is motivated, ready, willing to, purchase, but her husband apparently is not there. And so, her big why is that she wants to move closer to the New Hampshire border, not New Hampshire itself, but as close as possible to New Hampshire to be close to family. But he's just kind of like, I guess, one of those people where he's just like, I'm kind of content with where I am. So I'm actually going to meet with them tomorrow, and I'm just like, I'm not really sure, what the right questions to ask to get that motivation out of him.
I would say how important it is for your wife to be happy in whatever this is. Like, I would go down the roads of like, what impact will this have on your family? If waiting, what impact will that have on your family, right? If you figure out how to involve the entire family and not just his personal motivation, it may help you.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the questions I would ask is, if you don't move, how would that impact your family?
Okay.
Right. So it's like positive future, negative future kind of thing. And then bring them back to the positive of, what if you moved your family there and what would it look like? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I like
might
to
also
picture this.
I would say ask her her motivation while he's in the room, because maybe he's never really heard her talk about why it's important to her.
That's a good
And
point.
then once you have that, then you go into the picture this, it's 6 months from now, your family is, and give them the emotional feel of whatever it is that they're looking to accomplish.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because they're, I mean, they have the equity and she has a condo right now and her whole thing was like, she doesn't want to pay the fees, you know, the condo fees anymore. She's like over that and they have equity in the house. So she just wants to be done with that, buy a single family up north. And, you know, and I don't think, I mean, you're probably right. Maybe he doesn't realize how much
How important it is to her.
it is to her. Yeah. So maybe I'll mention that.
Yeah, and
maybe
if his importance is numbers, bring the numbers game with you. Bring the example of what it looks like to take the equity out of where they are right now and bring it to where they're going. But you have to know your audience. That's something that, you know, we talk a lot about is know who you're speaking to, mirror and match that personality of, you know, is the husband a high D, I, S, or C? And that's called the DISC. For those of you who haven't heard that before, it's a personality assessment. And knowing who you're speaking to will really help what you need to bring to that presentation. And I speak about this a lot. When I used to go on a listing presentation, I would bring everything, including the kitchen sink, is what I would say. I would bring absolutely everything with me, including graphs, absorption charts, marketing beyond, you know, like I would bring it all with me. And I would just show what I needed to show or explain what I needed to explain. I wouldn't take out everything. I would only take out what I would need to. Yet if I was, you know, if the person I was talking to and I didn't know before I went there was the high C, for example, and they needed really to see the analytics and the graphs and the numbers, then that's what I focused on. And that's what I took out of my bag.
So you think I should, you think I should, I mean, I don't know where I mean, they live in Lowell, but I don't know like the address or anything like that and how much equity they have in the home. I mean, should I
would do as much research as you can to get a good grasp of what it looks like.
Okay. All right.
All right. I think we said number 3, but it's the address buyer reluctant. Address buyer reluctance. All right, Tiffany, go ahead. You're
I
up.
feel like we've really beat this one. Be more knowledgeable than the headlines, right? Research the local conditions and trends that will affect them. I have a main multi-year trend report that shows me year over year what the market's done. So at any given point in time, I can turn around and say, that's great that the news said that. Here's the facts. Let me share my data with you. Preview more properties to get a better understanding of what's on the market, right? Back in the day, and I'm that OG agent, right? Back in the day, we viewed 10 properties a week to know what's going on in the market. So we always were able to speak of what the market was doing. The more knowledgeable you are, the more confident you are, and the more confidence you will share outward. And that's a huge piece of this.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tiffany. And here's the thing. I'm seeing more broker open houses lately than I ever have in the last couple of years. One, because we're on the other side of COVID or figuring it out. And obviously the market is stabilizing a bit. So I'm seeing a lot more broker open houses. I encourage you guys to go to those open houses. One, you're supporting your co-brokes. They will appreciate that you come through so much.
Yep.
2, you now know, you see a visual of this property, not just a digital picture or a 3D scan of it. You actually can see the property, smell the property, understand the surrounding property, and have a better conversation to explain to buyers. Even if they're not in that market, you could tell them about properties in that area. So absolutely put on your list or your calendar to schedule out broker open houses.
Absolutely.
All right. Next is, go ahead, Tiffany.
What tools do you use to communicate your knowledge of the economy and local market? Psst, psst. We have this KW New England growth call where we share all kinds of stuff. Shameless plug, just saying.
Oh, so Stephen, regular open houses as well. Any type of previewing properties, I encourage. I'm sorry. I just meant that adding those broker open houses is a benefit. any open house, any previewing of properties, you know, if your area is back to doing broker caravan tours, which I wish we were, but we're not yet. Anything like that, go tour properties in person.
Yep. All right, so what tools are you going to use to communicate your knowledge?
Let's throw some in the chat here. What tools are you using? MLS.
Yeah,
it's a great tool. It's probably one of the more accurate things. Here's the thing with that, and I'm just going to quickly say this. I'm not going to dive too far into this. Melissa. That made me stop in my tracks for a half a second. Anyway, not all properties are sold through MLS. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Not all properties are sold through MLS. You do have a resource, a vision appraisal, or your town resources online that you could get additional properties that will not be on your MLS. If you're having a hard time comping out a property, I would go into your tax assessor's website and see if there are other sales that sold outside of the MLS.
Yep.
All right, let's see what else we see. Facebook and Insta. I like the shortness of that. All right, vision appraisal, social media, love that.
So the one thing that I would share, and he's not on the call, but he shared it and many times, we take the data and we put it into a social post. And when we take that data and put it in a social post, people see it. This one agent got 3 sales, 2 listings, 1 buy, and paid for his daughter's college tuition just from sharing stats, right? So you share stats, you never know who in your social media is thinking, and when they see it, they're going to take action. The caveat to that is consistency and having a great call to action.
All right, so the why. We touched on this a little while ago. Here are some of the whys. Mortgage interest rates are low and stable. Is that true? They're a little kind of like this, but they're still low, by the way. Home
They're
price,
lower than they've ever been. Like, I mean, like in historical data, any interest rates below 6% are low.
I don't know about 0.2. Home prices have become more affordable. I think, you know, if you look at the affordability index, and that is definitely something to keep your eyes on in your local area. You know, we are pushing the 100% or whatever it is. Is it 100% or index, just 100 index? I don't have it in front of me, Tiffany. Do you know?
I think it's 100. Just
100 index. Yeah. Inventory is high. Obviously, we're not in the buyer's market right now, so we're not there yet we could be trending that way. Strong economy and low unemployment. Go ahead, Tiffany. I can't read the whole thing on my screen.
Do you want to risk missing a house that is perfect for you because you're waiting for a sliver of savings that may or may not be there, right? And we can have a whole hour-long conversation around the fact that you may be saving for 5 minutes, and yet are you saving overall, right? What is the overall savings of becoming a buyer in this market and home ownership in this market? What is the tax savings? What is the lifestyle savings? There's so many savings besides just price and interest rate.
I love this one. You guys mark
Yes.
this one down as a really great, or take a picture of it, whatever you have to do. Having a best buy list in your pocket will definitely set you aside. Sorry, I see a big dog that just was in Valerie's screen and he's so cute. All right, so a best buy list, see how I just get distracted. It's like a squirrel to me. A best buy list is something you absolutely want to compile and will set yourself apart. Have a current best buy in the market, in the market that you're in. And then have it based on consistent tracking of new listings, price reductions, pre-foreclosure, and foreclosed properties. What could you do if you had a best buy list in your back pocket every single day and you were going to coffee shops or you were doing your day, maybe I don't know, maybe you go golfing, whatever you do. If somebody said, hey, how's the market? Do you know any good buys in the area? If you're able to pull out your best buys in the market, what does that do for you? Does it set you apart from maybe other other real estate professionals that don't have a Best Buy list produced?
right? And
Right.
regardless of what the price is, or there is always a Best Buy in the market, regardless of market conditions.
Absolutely. All right, let's click on to the next one. Here's what you could put on your Best Buy list. REOs, HUD exchange, foreclosure, for sale by owners, price reduction in MLS, new homes on the market, and builder promotions. Write this down or take a picture of this. Start your Best Buys list today if you don't have one.
Yep. And there's a great cool way to do that in Command. So if you haven't gone to one of Brooke's Command training classes, you should absolutely do that.
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Does the market agree? How long has it been on the market? What's the list price? What's the condition? What's the selling price? Right? So when you look at what's out there and what you're looking to put in your Best Buy, take these into consideration. If it's been on the market for 45 days in a market that the average days on market is 7 days, could that potentially be a Best Buy? Is that seller a little motivated knowing that his house should have sold 35 days ago and it didn't? Absolutely. You know, what's the list price? What's the condition? There's plenty of investors and rehabbers in the market that were looking for a house that needs work. You know, what's just because it's priced here, what's selling in the area? Because eventually that seller is going to realize that they're overpriced.
I have a question. Does anybody on this call have a list like this that they currently use? We'll keep going while we're waiting for that to come up. So how find it for them, right? Ask about their motivation and urgency as far as the list, right? What is their relocation? Are they dissatisfied where they are? Life changes, second homes, homes sold. Is their lease ending? That's a big one. That is a huge one, right? Is their lease coming to an end, or is their rent going up? Because that's a big thing right now as well. And then are they looking for an investment? So nobody has a list like that. So there's 62 of you on the call today. I encourage every single one of you to start a Best Buy list in your local area and then see what happens when you're able to talk to people about, hey, you want to hear what some of the Best Buys are? Now, some of you might say, I don't have any Best Buys because there's nothing on the market. Go find them.
Yeah.
Trust me, they're there. They might not even be on MLS. and they
Now,
might be
as far as the
off-market.
Best Buys, those are listings that you would consider are good, like good buys or whatnot, right?
Yeah, they could be listings or they could be off-market listings. They
Okay.
could be properties that aren't even listed that you could talk to your client base about. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
So
ahead,
the
Tiffany.
advantages of home ownership, we really talked about this. You're building equity, you're getting a tax break, you're getting an investment. I would add to this like lifestyle, right? Lifestyle is a huge advantage of home ownership, and there's really no value you could put on that. And that's a piece that if you have somebody that's toggling between price and interest rates and they're living in a 2-bedroom with a family of 6, that lifestyle would be huge. Show them what they'll buy, knowing what they need and want, knowing the best buys in your market again. And to the point, to the slide before, don't just give away your best buy, get something in return for it, right? Get their name, their phone number, their email, and what are their real estate future plans.
Good point, Tiffany.
So buyers who want a deal, what is their definition of a deal? It's not always price. Communicate the consequences of some deals. And again, the days of REOs when there were 6 feet of mold in the basement, right? Do you really want to own a house that's 50 cents on the dollar that you're going to put $1.50 more into the house, right? So what's the consequences of buying that deal? And sometimes you get them having a conversation around buying a foreclosure because that's still a trigger word for buyers. And then you have a conversation, okay, so you're looking for a foreclosure. And have you thought about all of these consequences and the cost of those consequences? And then you get them to buy a traditional house and everyone's happy.
Go ahead, Tiffany. I can't reach the question. on my screen.
It says, what questions are most effective for determining buyers' true needs and wants? So what did you hear? What have we shared with that you can really use? Put it in the chat box. Features and benefits. We're going old school with this, right? What's the feature? So there's a fireplace, right? What's the benefit? When you run your fireplace, you're not paying $5 a gallon for oil, right? A pool. On those 90-degree days, you're enjoying family time and your friends and family are coming to you instead of you having to leave. You know, large master bedroom. What's the benefit to that? You know, master bedroom with a bath. You don't have to share a bathroom with your children. That's a win, right? So what's the decisions? What's the feature? What's the benefit? And how do you tie it into their desires and their wants? Cost of waiting to buy. So the delay of tax benefit, there's a huge tax benefit that if they're not purchasing, they're pushing that out. So how much did they lose by not buying today? Delay of building equity in a new home. If you had buyers on the market that were looking for a house in 2019 and they still have not bought, how much equity have they lost, right? Regardless of what the price point of the house was. Need to view more homes. What's important to you about viewing more homes? Selection of best homes is limited. Here's my secret. I always tell folks when you're doing a tour of homes, show the best house first, the worst house last, regardless of the map. You know how that map tool wants you to do it in order. Show the best first, the worst last, because if not, if you show the worst first and the last best, they're going to think that there's better houses out there. Corinna.
When I talk to buyers, the first thing I say, especially if they've never bought before, I let them know the first thing that your house does for you is it wards off inflation, because your mortgage is generally fixed. So that means it's not going up unless you want it to go up or taxes go up, whereas rent goes up pretty much every year. Everything goes up, gas, food, it all goes up. But if you can keep your mortgage down, then you've just fought off inflation.
Absolutely. 100%. Remove the fear of paying too much. I always use the appraisal, especially where we are in the market today. This may not have worked 6 months ago. Properties have to appraise, right? Incentives and concessions, improvement allowances, pay early, move out on renter's lease. Ask your landlord, if I move out today, would you be willing to take me off the lease? Can I sublet it? Lease purchase options, not a thing so much right now. Mortgage buy downs, you could pay down, but did you know you can buy down your points, you could buy down your interest rate. So if you don't want to pay 6%, you could pay 4%, but buying down your rate. Seller financing extras, which back in the day, they were 50, 60-inch TVs just to buy my house. All right, close the deal. Is this a house you want to buy? If you love this house, someone else will too. Good houses sell fast in any market. The next person who looks at this house could make an offer. How would you feel if someone else bought this house tomorrow? I think that's my favorite one.
All right, guys, don't leave the call because we do have a giveaway for today. We have 1 minute left, so let's get through here with the bottom line. You need to be an expert on the local market and economy. I think we spoke about that quite a bit today. Educate your buyers. Don't let the media educate your buyers because it's just not always accurate. Articulate why this is a great time to buy and use history, use data to enforce that. You're going to create a best buy list. If that is the one thing you got from today's call, please write that down. Like, create a best buy list. You will set yourself apart from every single agent out there. Create that. Show them houses that meet their needs and wants. Always do a buyer consultation. Always. That's a different class for a different day. Always do a buyer consultation. Facilitate a decision to buy a house with those last questions that we were just talking about and in the session here. Any questions before we have a winner for today? I'm going to take a minute to do that, Tiffany, as you finish up here.
Absolutely. Oh, so this is a great prize. I want to win this prize. So DBS is, they do all of our marketing and promo pieces. I have my Keller Williams New England backpack, which I love. Great prices. Who's our winner? Because they get a picnic fun prize
Give me
basket.
1 second. I'm putting it in.
And while she's doing that, ahas from today, throw them in the chat.
Don't leave, you gotta be here to win.
I know, we're down to 54.
All right, I got
Oh,
it,
those
I got
are-
it.
Who's
We
our
have
winner?
Tara Donahue Scott. I
Ah.
think she was one of our, someone who came off mute. So Tara, are you still here?
She is.
I'm off mute.
I am.
What market center are you at? Congratulations.
Keller Williams Evolution.
Evolution. All right.
I did win a few weeks ago. Are you supposed to be taken out, or
I don't
can
think
I
so.
keep winning?
You show up, you win.
All right.
So just a quick thing on the Express store. Sue is absolutely unbelievable. I actually just reached out to her on Friday, and she has things in the mail already for me for an event I'm doing. So DBS is an amazing, amazing company. Congratulations, Tara, again for your winning, and come back again next Tuesday, guys. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, ladies. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too. We'll make sure
Bye,
we email all
everyone.
that out to you as well.